Hey, what's up, everyone? Give me a minute. Just want to make sure everything works the way it's supposed to because LinkedIn has this live event thing that kind of tricks people into showing the event at the actual event page. And okay, great. So it's actually showing up. Cool. Let me X out of this. Let me make sure my Instagram people can see us and hear us. Okay, cool. So if you can hear and see us, put the LUs in the chat. I just want to make sure y'all can hear and see us. So thank y'all so much for joining us on this Labor Day. Hope y'all had a great Labor Day weekend. I just got through with a cookout. We had a lot of people at the house, and a lot of food, and your brother is stuffed. So, we want to talk about somebody who went from a musician to a cloud engineer, and he's going to tell you his journey. He's going to drop some gems. So, for those who are looking to do the same, transitioning to cloud engineering, you can take these gems and apply it to what you're doing and be successful. Okay, great. We got some people that can hear us. Put the LUs in the chat if you're ready for the gems. But got a special guest, a former Lewitt alumni. This guy came through. He was a special case because he was always excited about learning this stuff, and he was actually tinkering with, I guess, programming anyway because he was trying to build his own music apps and playlist or what you call it on the site. Is it playlist?
Yeah, I was doing like stuff with like sampling engines basically. Something
Oh,
called
nice. Yeah,
Contact. So yeah, we can
yep.
go into that a little bit if you want.
Yeah, man. So he was definitely excited and just blew through the program, did everything he was supposed to do. And he just worked and worked and didn't take no for an answer. And he got hooked up with some great folks over at Protagonist and got a great position. But enough about me. I want y'all to put the KAs in the chat right now and just give it up. Give a warm welcome for our brother Chris Afflebar. What's up, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me, Broadus.
Hey, man, I
I
appreciate
appreciate.
you coming, man. I think this is a great conversation for us to have to, really our goal is to just help people learn cloud, land a job, make money. And at the end of the day, whatever gems we can give people to help them move into the next realm of their career, that's exactly what we're here to do. And your story is amazing, man. Even from
Thank
uh,
you.
me just, knowing your wife, working with your wife as
Mm-hmm.
well, and putting all these things together as far as a full story. I know she's super excited. Probably, hopefully, she's watching now. She's super excited about what you're going to accomplish in this industry. You're a super sharp guy, man. I think you were made for this stuff. Little did you know it or not. And I think you're just a super creative individual
Thank you.
that is ready to take on new challenges, man. So we're here to just showcase your story, talk to the people about you, and just drop the gem. So if you don't mind, we're going to head straight into it, get into the meat and potatoes if y'all ready. And ask my first question. So
Sure.
can you describe who you were before you decided to make a significant change in your career and jump into cloud engineering?
Who I was. So I've been a professional musician since basically all my adult life. So probably about 20 years or so where I was doing that full time. And I was successful. I played bass, electric bass, upright bass, a little piano, a little guitar. I've kind of done a lot of stuff within that field.
Mhm.
So I've played like freelance stuff, done recording sessions for different artists, um, and like lots of like weddings, things like that. And I was just at the time, so I have two kids right now. They're I guess at the time when I was kind of make a change, I guess the youngest one was around 1, the oldest was around like 4,
Mm.
and I was just I was starting to get, a musician's lifestyle is very much it's you're going along a lot on the weekends,
Mhm.
a lot at nights. And with a growing young family, I was just getting kind of tired of that schedule. I was getting tired of my wife being super stressed out, having to manage two wild children, at night or on weekends. And I was getting frustrated with me not being able to be there as much as I wanted to. So that's kind of, the point where I kind of started to think, I want to do something where I can have a more normal schedule, where I can be home more often, where I'm not, traveling, a lot of times long distances, nights and weekends. That's pretty much where I was.
No, I understand, man. I was a musician myself. Well, I made music, right? So
Yeah.
when and maybe it's just me. I think somebody says they're a musician. I think I put them in the category of somebody who plays music and can read music, etc.
Hmm.
But I made music, right? So I was a singer, rapper,
Yeah.
and man, to make it, we had to go to those clubs
Hmm.
late at night. We had to do a little tour and everything, and for you doing it full time because you were out there. This is what you did. For
Yeah.
me, it was part time. I was just trying to make it on a part time. I
Right.
understand if you being gone, your wife working hard, working and taking care of the kids as well while you out there working and trying, bring that butter into the home and really just want being there for your kids. Just like, look, I need to spend more time because
Hmm.
the time could be missed. And for those of you who got kids, you already know they
They
grow up
grew
so
up so
fast.
fast, right?
Golly, right?
We
They
said it
grow
at
up
the
so
same time.
fast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
man.
do.
And
It's true.
you just don't want to miss it. So,
Hmm.
I understand that's the turning point where you're like, I got to do something else.
100%. Yeah, it was, and it's always like, so also to clarify, like, I'm never going to quit playing music, or making
Mm.
music. I also do a lot of production stuff and, kind of dabbling with film scoring and things. I'm never
Oh,
going to
nice.
quit that. Right. But like, it's now I can do it when I want,
Yeah.
that's kind of the beauty of transitioning careers like I've done.
Yeah, man. I dropped mines. I haven't did or made a song probably since 2020. I did for those of you who probably remember, maybe not, I did a little tech song a few years ago that I dropped, but that was like the last thing I did. And,
Nice.
it never leaves you, right?
No.
I listen to old music that I've written and I'm like, man, yo, I gotta get back in the studio.
Yeah.
You
100%. Yeah.
you understand exactly what I'm talking about. You like, man, ooh, man, I
Hmm.
still got it in me. You know what? I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna build this studio here, put some things on the wall. So, I definitely understand, man. It never leaves you. And maybe I'll get back into it and just see where it takes me,
When
man.
that mix
But
starts sounding good in the car, that's how you know it.
what you say?
The car test, when the mix starts sounding good in the car, you know?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Or when you take a break, because you've been in the studio for so long, when you could take a break and come back and it still sound good, you like,
Yeah.
okay, we got
That's how you
something
know you
now.
got it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So tell us more, like, how did you find out about Louis, man? How did you find out about Level Up in Tech?
So I found out through Level Up in Tech through my wife, Kara Ann Afflerbaugh, whom you know.
Yep.
You I know you worked at Pluralsight with her.
Yep.
And so she had before I met you, you had Sarah Barnett had started going through the program, who is my sister-in-law. And so and Kara had like talked her into meeting up with you and trying to do the program, and she really took to it and was kicking it. I'm not sure if I can swear, kicking butt, and had to catch myself there. And
Okay.
yeah, and so she was really enjoying it, and so I agreed to meet with you. And to be honest, I didn't even really know what DevOps was. When I met up with you, it was kind of like I started taking like the AWS cloud practitioner, like like when I met with you, I had like been going through that for like a week, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of getting this, but like, how is this like relating to, programming and like, so yeah, that was basically, that's how I found out about the program was through my wife, and I met you, and it seemed great. I started reading and, hearing other people's stories, and it sounded like something that I was at least willing to give a chance.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Shout out to Carrie Ann. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
And shout out to Sarah as well. Now, what was your doubts and fears about doing this, if any?
I think my doubts and fears centered more around, I'm very much of the mindset that I already kind of have the mindset of like I can do anything that I set out to do.
Mhm.
I've kind of understood that there's like to getting better at anything, there's a process, and that process takes time, So I think my fears were at pushing 40 years old was this like what was I too late to be like picking up a new
Mm,
career?
mm,
I think that was like really it. I wasn't like super fearful, but I knew it was going to be hard work. And I think it was just like a time factor with the young kids. Like, man, I'm going to be like up doing some late nights, some early mornings. And for a while, I'm not going to get a lot of sleep. That was kind of like I knew I was going into the lion's den, but I knew I could do it. Like you always say, you can do anything for 6 months. And that's true. It's like, you don't want to make a lifestyle of having, staying up till 1, getting up at 5 in the morning, but like anybody can do that for 6 months, for sure.
right. Yeah. So it's all about, I think, just the dedication, especially we all live different lives, right? So some got kids, some don't have kids, some work a lot, others have more freedom and more flexibility, but it's the process equals the profits.
Hmm.
So it's a process to everything that if you just follow it, right? Because at the end of the day, this is what I always tell people, like your feelings have nothing to do with your success. It has everything to do with how you execute and what you do. So
Hmm.
what happens is some people have their feelings and let it get in the way and say, you know what, I'm not even going to try because I already know how it's going to go. I already know I don't want to, do this or that. And really, in hindsight, right, and just correct me if I'm wrong, in hindsight, when you look back, you like, man, where I'm at now and what I'm doing, it was nothing,
Hmm.
to do
Yep.
those things because it put me in such a great position that now I'm like, man, if I was scared of that's nothing to be
Yeah.
scared of.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, if you can, hindsight's always one of those things where if you can go back with, the perspective that you have now, you realize like, oh, this isn't really a big deal. It's going to be,
Yeah,
like I was saying, and once you've done a few of those in your day, you kind of understand like, this is going to be hard work, but that's okay. And then it's going to be over and your life's going to be better, and
absolutely.
that's how I feel.
Absolutely. And so I'll just say this as well, right? To those that are listening. Yes, it's hard work. It ain't easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it, right? What we try to do is just simplify it, but you still got to put in the work. And some of you may look at it and be like, man, I don't want to put in no hard work. But yet, let's be super transparent and put this on the table. But yet,
Hmm.
you say, I hate my job and my job is hard. And yet we go to work every day and do that. Yes, we're getting paid for it right now. It pays the bills. But I think we have to have a long-term vision of like, if I can just put in work here and sacrifice some things normally that I do every day to invest in myself, to push myself to the next level, then the thing that I hate every day going to, I won't hate anymore because I have a new beginning, making more money, having more
Hmm.
flexibility,
Right.
and being challenged to learn things that are actually going to be booming in the next years because everything runs off of technology.
Right.
Everything, I'm not everything, but most companies have some sort of cloud services that are using that they need cloud engineers to
Well,
run.
that's the thing, right? It's every company is a tech company now, right?
Every company's a tech company. No
Yeah,
matter if you were the mom and
you have
pop,
to be.
restaurant, you're using technology to run your business. Whether it's you go into a mom and pop shop and they just got Square and they keep, a lot of
Mhm.
their records in Square, some inventory, whatever the case may be. Without Square or without technology that Square uses to help them run their business, how would they be in business?
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah,
Social
100%.
media, all these machines and services that are out here. And you just have to make the decision, or you just have to ask yourself, and I keep repeating this every call because I want this to stick to y'all. You have to ask yourself, who do I need to become in order for me to reach my goals? And who do I need in order for me to reach my goals.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you know it or not, you're going to need someone, whether it's the mentor or whether it's the partner in your home, to keep you motivated and keep your vision, because motivation inside of you is temporary. So you could be on fire today, but what happens is, what we don't realize is the thing that makes us the engineer is the thing that we hate the most. So we start and we're highly motivated, but we go
Mm-hmm.
through these periods of hitting a brick wall, trying to figure out how to solve problems. And now we're frustrated because we think that we're not good enough to solve it. But in turn, it's just the thing that's molding us to become the engineer. Without that support system, a lot of us just walk away and just say, this is something I tried, I can't do it.
Right. Yeah.
And I want everyone to just understand that the thing that you're going to go through that's going to trick you into thinking that you're not good enough is the thing that's making you good enough.
Right. Yeah.
It's the thing that you're scared of. So with that being said, what are some of the biggest challenges or obstacles you encountered on your journey to becoming a cloud engineer, and how did you navigate around them?
For me, it was, again, it just kind of came down to time. It was, most of the stuff clicked pretty well for me, most of the tech stuff. Eventually, like I just like to dig deep into things, and eventually they clicked. Sometimes they weren't clicking in the beginning. But the thing was always the time. It was like, I think my youngest son was in the hospital like 2 or 3 times during the entire time I was there. I remember like finishing up like my first project. My youngest one was in the hospital with a pneumonia. They kept him overnight. He's fine now, but like, it was like there was a scare. So am I trying to finish projects. I was basically like full-time, or not full-time, but during the day when Kara was working, I was like caretaker for my youngest, because he was, I believe at the time, I'm trying to remember, I'm trying to get the timeline. I can't remember if when I started he wasn't going to daycare at all, or if he was going like 2 days a week. But then like for most of my time in Level Up in Tech, like he was only going to daycare like twice a week. And so I was like trying to cram in a lot because he's wild. His name is Wilder, and he's wild. And so like, there's nothing, you're not getting anything done when he's awake, other than keep him from killing himself. So, so that was like the biggest challenge, was just getting in that time. So it was a lot of late nights. Sometimes I didn't have as much to do, and I was like going to bed at like 9 or 10, but other times it was like 1 o'clock. And then we got to get up for school with the kids at like 5:30.
Yeah.
To get my oldest one dressed and out the door and in the car line. Those of you parents, know all about that stuff.
Absolutely.
So that was, it was always just like a time thing for me. It was always just, man, I'm just like, burning the candle at both ends. But I knew, it was like, I knew that like at the end of the day, my youngest would be in daycare, my oldest was going to school, and then like eventually I'd have a job, and this is just what I did, and I wouldn't be staying up late nights as much. Sometimes, I still do. Sometimes I like to just learn a new thing, and like, hey, like I'm coming to bed late tonight, and just I'm gonna dive into whatever, Kubernetes or something, some more Python, some new Python method I haven't used before.
No, that's awesome, because it seems like you created a habit, even though it was stressful at that time. But I think you created a habit of like, now, hey, I'm in here, and I know I like doing this stuff, and me learning it is only gonna make me better. Like, you just focusing on getting better at your job, which in turn is just gonna push you to the next level.
Right.
So you still got that hunger, and I think that's one of the great things coming out of a program, or coming fresh out. If you're even doing it on your own, you keep that hunger that a lot of people, when they get into a role, really don't have anymore, because they get settled in and they're like, oh, I don't have to study for another cert anymore. I don't have to learn anything really like that anymore. I'm good.
Right.
I have to just be flexible and just go to my meetings and do my little work. But if you stay hungry, that's how you get promoted. That's how you get better opportunities. That's really it.
And you have to, I mean, because as much as going through Level Up in Tech and doing all the stuff on your own, which I feel like I did about as much as you could. There's just nothing like, now I'm like about a month in at my role at Protagonist. There's just nothing like you kind of show up and you're like, yeah, I know all this stuff, and then it's like, oh man, I just barely know. I just barely know the beginning. Like I'm like barely like I shouldn't even be in the same room as a lot of these guys. There's a lot of these guys and gals that are like on team with me and the company. But yeah, it's great. Like I love being in the position of being around other people that are, you know their stuff
Yeah,
and can guide you. And yeah. So
you're
yeah.
super
But you
smart,
gotta
man.
stay hungry for sure.
Absolutely. So through all of that, staying up late and taking care of your son, how did you stay motivated and focused when things got tough?
Um I think that you know, like some days it's harder than others, but generally it's just I think it's just sort of being able to uh look into the future and look down the line of like okay, what is this going to lead to? Like
Yeah,
this is going to lead to something good. Keeping that attitude high, even when you're tired and even when you're feeling cranky or whatever, because we all have lives. We all are people, and we have things come up, and I think like you're not always going to feel fresh 100% of the time every day, but like if you can just keep that, looking forward and that vision, hey, this is, that's what worked for me. And just kind
yeah.
of like a little bit of just like forcing yourself too. There was times when it was just like, man, I just want to go to bed right now. But you gotta, but you just gotta, hey, like you gotta look at that, pot of gold at the end of the rainbow and just keep on chasing that. And it will pay off. It will pay off.
Yeah, that's what I always say, man. You always get the return on investment if you don't quit.
Hmm.
The moment you quit, you're not going to get the return,
Right.
right? And this is when we talk about stocks or return on investment, you're the best stock that you could ever invest into because, like, it kills me that a lot of people will invest in um, um, all types of stock, Nike, Tesla, you know,
Hmm.
Facebook, whatever the case may be, that we don't have any control over how this stock does. But we'll invest this money or invest time researching, trying to figure out if this is the best. But we won't invest in ourselves where we actually can control how this stock
Right.
performs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when you invest in yourself, you can control it. And I think a lot of us don't invest because we know ourselves. We like, oh, I know when times get tough, I might just lay it down and quit and I might lose my investment. But
Hmm.
we're here to tell you now, like, no matter how many no's you get, no matter how many rejections you get, or no matter how it looks from now, like, oh man, I'm just, frustrated because I've been working on a couple projects and I'm just, feeling like a little defeated. Maybe I'm not smart as I think I am. Listen,
Hmm.
all you have to do is keep going. It's
Right.
the same as going to a gym. You may lift heavy weight today and you may be sore as shit tomorrow.
Yep.
But if you come and continue to get in that weight room and eat right, you will see the change. And the change is going to happen when you least expecting it. It's
Yeah.
gonna happen when you put on a shirt. You be like, "Oh, whoa, whoa,
Hmm.
whoa, whoa! This shirt is too big for me now." And
Yeah.
that's how this works. Like it comes when you least expect it.
That's
You
the
know?
that's the good time when you get to buy a new wardrobe, when
Yeah,
it's
right.
looking too big. But so I've had the opposite problem in my day before.
Yeah, me too, man. And we all tired. We all have lives, right? I mean, I'm just being super transparent, right? I love everyone that's on this call, but it's Labor Day weekend, and your boy had a lot of people over at the house,
Hmm.
right? I
Nice.
cooked on the grill today, so I'm sweated out, and we ate, and I had some, family and friends. So when everything started to wind down, I'm like, man, I could sure use the bed right now, just help me out. But we here trying to get these gems to y'all, just give you motivation to
Yeah.
understand that it doesn't matter where you come from or what background you have. It
Yeah, for sure.
all just narrows down to what you do right now in the next 6, 8, or even 12 months could change the trajectory of your next 5 years,
Yeah.
you know.
And it
Uh,
really isn't, it really isn't that long of a time if you think about it. It seems like so long, like, oh, 6 months, but it's like I can tell you, like, going through that program, um, I mean, it just was like, oh, like I was graduating and I felt like I just started. And then, continuing that, because I was just pushing through and like,
yeah.
because you can only learn so much in 6 months, no
Yep.
matter how hard you work. But like it's Level Up in Tech sets you up on the right trajectory. And if you just keep going, you're gonna, sky's the limit. But like, even that last, like, I think like a bit before after I graduated and before I got a job, like it just seemed like kind of fly by too, so it seemed like so long, but
But the
went by
thing is,
fast.
I think the thing is with you and so many others that were successful, the only thing that happened was you didn't quit,
Yeah.
right? So like let's be transparent. When you graduated, you didn't land a role, right? We had
Hmm.
interviews. You're a
Yeah.
super sharp guy. To be honest with you, out of a lot of people, we were like, yeah, Chris is one of them. Absolutely. Even though in the background now you told us what happened as far as like, yeah, I got to burn the midnight oil and I
Hmm.
watched my son, etc. He was in the hospital. You still were performing at a level where he was like, he got
Yeah.
it.
Hmm.
But even then, right? You get rejections, you're going through interviews, getting no's, and still had to apply yourself, and you
Yeah.
still continue to showcase everything that you learn and build upon that until you got the yes. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So now we got the yes, right?
We got the yes.
How
Yeah.
has life changed since starting your new opportunity with the Protagonist?
It's really great. I mean, I've only been there for about a month, so I'm still, obviously a lot more is going to change probably in the next 6 months, but it's really just, for one, there's the job security,
Mhm.
which is obviously like, for me, that was never like my wife makes pretty good money. So it was never like it'd be nice to be making more, but it was never like we were going to get crushed. But
Right.
the main thing is like I'm home, I'm still doing music things here and there, but like I'm trying to kind of keep it to like a couple times a month. And, it's like I'm around on the weekends and Protagna is really good about just like honoring work like balance. They're
Yeah.
really big into that. And a lot of companies are now too, so getting to just like be there for my kids, be there for my wife all the time is kind of the main thing that's just a vast benefit for me, and I know a lot of people will say like the money too. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of mainly how my life has changed right now. And I'm not spending like it was kind of like demoralizing, like looking for a job because I knew I could be like learning a new skill, and I was instead like redrafting my resume. It seemed like a million times, and now that I can, now that I've landed a role, it's like okay, now I can like focus on the job. I can focus on my family, when it's family time, and I can focus on when I have free time. I can whatever I can hang out with friends, or I can go and like learn a new skill. You learn more skills in tech instead of like having to worry about my resume,
Yeah. Yeah.
um so yeah, that's been because that was the part I really hated. I'm great with the learning the tech, like the putting yourself out there, selling yourself, and like figuring out how to make it sound on a resume. That was the part where I just like, oh man, like some people are really great at it. I just I really had to push myself for that part.
No, I mean, I think so. One thing is for sure, everyone can learn the tech, right? And this is for
Hmm.
anyone going through anything, right? Self-serve, self-paced, self-learning, program, mentor, whatever. You can work in months to learn what you need to learn. but it all comes down and it prepares you for that period of you actually looking for the job. That's the period of the endurance,
Mm-hmm.
right? That is the actual race, I believe. Because what happens is when some people get their first no, they revert back to, oh man, I'm not good enough. Even though they've been working for, let's say, 6 months, 8 months, or whatever,
Yeah.
preparing, when they get that first no, they're like, oh my God, man, I just not good enough. And then when
Yeah.
they gotta, when you apply to a job and you got to make sure your resume aligns with that job, it's not a one size fit all thing anymore, right? They don't want
Mm-hmm.
to do what is necessary to do to make sure they push through the next level and say, okay, you know, I know I applied to 10 jobs. Sometimes I might need to refactor my resume 10 times to show certain skills that align, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the hard part, to be truthful to y'all.
Right.
Right. But guess what? Once again, it ain't about what you think and it ain't about what you feel. It's all about what you do. He just told you he didn't want to do it.
Right.
But he
Yeah.
did it anyway,
Mm-hmm.
and he became successful, man. Um so let me ask you this: who are you now, both professionally and personally, compared to who you were before all of this?
I think you know, I think mostly personally, I'm the same person. I'm able to have more time now.
Mm,
I'm like freed of um and my wife is much less stressed during, like, because I'm there on the weekends, because my kids are a lot of work right now. We're at that age where it's like, if I when I was having to leave for gigs, I'd like, usually, like, if I had to play a wedding like on a Saturday, I would like leave my house probably about like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and that's like right when, like, that last half of the day when we're doing like dinner, bath time for the kids, putting them in bed. And those are kind of like, a lot of parents know, those are kind of like
yeah.
that's kind of the toughest times.
Yep.
And so, like, I think I'm just like less stressed. I think I'm like, when I got the offer, it was like a weight was lifted off of me. I felt lighter. I felt like everything's going to be good. And I felt like I get to like see my kids more. I get to see my wife more. And that's really, aside from that, I would say, like, really haven't changed that much, other than I have, more knowledge.
Mm.
I have different skill sets, but personally, I'm basically the same person. So yeah.
No, that was good. I mean, I think you really told it, where the thing was just being able to spend the time with the family, have that
Hmm.
time to help out.
Yeah.
One person's not overstressed and the other person has to go. Right now, you
Yeah.
can share the workload and it makes it easier for a family. And
Yep.
I think, for most cases, that's all that matters, right? Sharing the weight, sharing the load, and making it less stressful.
Yep.
So looking back, what advice would you give to your former self?
To my former self, I would say, maybe that to that, like, you could have transitioned into doing something like this sooner.
Mm,
Um, because I think just for a long time I wasn't I was motivated a lot to do the best at music that I could, but I wasn't like out there like hustling. Like, money wasn't like a big motivator for me. It was when I was younger. It was just kind of like, yeah, like, I'm good, and like, I would show up, and I'd play my ass off, but like, I wasn't like, trying to just constantly like push and like network and doing all, like, I wasn't like really constantly putting myself out there doing those things. And so I think, like, that would be the thing where, like, hey, like, you could pick up like a new skill earlier. You could still do
mm,
music.
mm,
Um, I think that's about the only thing. I'm not really big on like sort of like living my life in regrets. I think there's like there's a reason why. I think I learned a lot
Yeah.
as an artist, as a musician, having that lifestyle for so long, I gained a perspective that I would have never had, and I got to experience a lot of things that I would have never had I just like jumped into a tech job when I was 20. Um, but I would say maybe like if I had to change something, like, hey, it's okay to pick up other skills and you can still do X, Y, or Z right now,
Right.
but like you can maybe, you know, maybe this other thing is interesting. And like, you don't have to make this one thing your complete identity for this
Mm.
long, and then it gives you like more of a freedom to kind of switch that career trajectory sooner. I
Yeah.
think that's probably really about it.
No, I mean that makes sense because I'm always a firm believer of if it's not the thing, it's the thing that's going to lead you to the thing, right? So,
Hmm.
me making music, I'm selling clothes, clothing designer,
Yeah.
and I was reselling sneakers, had a sneaker reselling business, and being in banking. I think all of those things created and gave me the experience to move into tech when I was 33 instead of when I was 20.
100%.
Yeah.
And like I'll tell you too, like I mean, I remember like my first interview I had with Protagonist, I was like, you know, I was expected to speak about projects for sure that I didn't, but like once they kind of like knew that like I knew what I was talking about with the project. I mean, it was more just kind of like really just a lot of shooting the shit, really. Like it was just and people like so I would say for anybody as advice, like lean into that. Like whatever you are, whether you're coming from a teacher, a nurse, musician, artist, photographer, whatever, like there's a lot of those other jobs that like your people skills and your just ability to like be cool, and a lot of times that's kind of like what they're looking for. A lot of
Mhm.
companies now have this kind of mentality like you can teach the tech, but like, we want to know that you're just cool to work with. And so when I realized that I could kind of lean into that, especially because a lot of the stereotype about tech people that have been doing tech their whole life is that a lot of times they're not people. So if you can lean into that, I think that's going to help anyone. Just have a conversation, um, like, hey, blah blah blah. Oh, I see that you're from such and such. That's like, oh, I love that place, blah blah, or like whatever it is. Just be cool to talk.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you because the tech, once again, the tech can be learned, the tech can be taught, but who are you as a person? What transferable skills that you have to make it like, okay, I would like this person to
Hmm.
not only be around us, but be around our customers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure.
If we give this person a project to work with, I don't know, Citibank or Meta, right? How would that person represent us? Did that person represent us in a way where I'm like, this person is cool, calm, collected. I know they'll be able to communicate and help our clients um, feel secure and feel good about the things that we're doing for them on a project.
Yeah,
That's it. Yes, you may get asked some technical questions and you got to prep for that, right? But also, you just got to understand this one thing too. In the interview, you're interviewing them as well. So
yeah,
create conversation. See if they're cool to work with,
yep.
right? Like while they seeing if you're cool, see if they cool. And then y'all just gel and have a great conversation. And if it's not the thing, guess what? It's the thing that's going to lead you to the thing.
Right.
Because if you take that
Yeah.
feedback, or if you go and say, okay, I didn't get the job, and you ask for the feedback and they say this is the feedback, and then you just put your process into getting stronger at that, then the next interview you coming with, especially if this is your first interview, then the next interview you come and you interview with a company, you're going to be less stressed. You already kind of know what to prepare for, and you're going to get better and better. That's the thing. Just
Hmm.
focus on getting better and better. Yes, you're going to get a no. Yes, you're going to get rejected. But can you take that without seeing the result at the moment and say, I'm just going to get better and better and better and better. And then the result, when the opportunity meets the preparation that's right in that moment, that's when you get the opportunity and you get to make sometimes the most money you've ever made and keep going from there.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, and I'm
yeah,
kind of like a firm believer in just opportunities will present themselves to you when you are ready. I
absolutely.
don't think that I think that sometimes we get ahead of ourselves. We think, why isn't this coming to me? Why isn't this happening to me? And it's just that is not for you yet,
Right.
but it could be tomorrow. It could be, you know, 3 weeks from now. It could be
Right.
1 week from now. And you
Yep.
just, in the meantime, keep on that path that you're supposed to be on. And the door will eventually open up for you when you are ready.
Absolutely. And the last thing I say is, I mean, just what he said. You could be tomorrow. And by that, this is what I mean, right? Tomorrow, you could decide, hey, I'm going to do this project that I've been putting off. And I'm going to showcase this complicated project that I've been putting off. And I've been scared to showcase because I've been scared of what people are going to actually say if I got
Hmm.
something wrong or what they're going to say about it. And by you putting that out that project, you could be attracting a company that probably been looking at you, but just been waiting for you to showcase that type of knowledge. And
Yep.
now here they come knocking at the door, like, hey, Chris, how are you? You just don't know. But by you not continuously to get better or trying to, pursue and prep to get better, you may not see the opportunity. So
Hmm.
I'm gonna answer the question that Bernard had. Is it hard to get in the cloud? It at this moment right now, right? It's a little tougher because there's a lot of competition. However, this is what I say. People can get mad at me, people can say whatever they want. It's all about what you do. It's all about you continuously trying to get better because the
Hmm.
competition that's out there that's trying to get the same jobs you got, 80% of them are lazy, meaning 80% of them are not going to do the things that you're supposed to do to land the job.
Yeah.
Right. So 80% of them are going to let me get a couple of certs, let me show 2 projects, and I'm out here applying to jobs. Let me focus on getting better every single day, showcasing my stuff, building relationships,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Applying to jobs and building relationships from that as well. So I could be known. So even if the opportunity is not now, when another opportunity comes and is ready, then I will be ready for it and they will remember me. So yes, some jobs and some companies are hard to get into. Yes, your journey is your journey. You may get a job quick, while someone may take a little while, or you may take a little while. Someone else may get a job quicker than you. It's all about your journey, and it's all about
Hmm.
what you do. So, Bernard, if you're a beginner, what you do from now on to the end of the year can dictate if you're going to get a job in 2024 or 2025. But if you sit there and you say, you keep pondering on, oh, cloud is hard. Well, guess what? It is going to be hard if you don't do anything. It's going to be
Yeah.
really hard.
Well, and I'll
2025
just say,
won't
like,
happen.
from my personal experience to Bernard is, so I started in March of 2023 with Level Up in Tech, and I got the offer from Patagna in like the beginning of July
Mhm.
of this year. So it was over a year, but I graduated at a very tough time in the market, and it in the end, I don't think that's that long. Going from basically knowing nothing about tech, nothing about cloud engineering, nothing about DevOps, and I landed a role within a year and what is that, 4 months or something like that. A year and 3 months. I'm not doing the math right, but you get the point. A year and some change, and I think that's pretty good. I think I'm pretty happy with that. You know, I- if I had to would have if I had to guess, I would have guessed it would take longer.
Yeah. So, I mean, you think about, and on top of that, right? So you have Chris, who is a top talent. And I'm pretty sure it's probably frustrating for him where he see other talent that's just as good. Maybe you land a role way quicker because that's not his journey, right? Somebody may land a role that's super quick, and you're like, how did they
Hmm.
get it, and I'm not getting it? That's the thing that makes people want to quit because they see other people's journey They're like, oh man, that person just landed a role, and I've been through 3 interviews or
Yep.
4 interviews or 4 companies, and it's just about your timing, you doing what you're doing to get the right opportunity, and just continue to prep. Can you prep until you see the success? That's the answer. I mean, that's the question to this industry, right?
Yep.
Can you, whether it's self-learning, whether it's working with a mentor, whether it's going through a program, can you continuously support yourself? If you're going through a program, can you continuously use that resource and continuously build a relationship and continuously prep until you get the right opportunity? That's it. And for all of you that are listening, tech is about to boom even harder with new roles coming out, AI engineer, and
Yep.
people moving into AI. It's going to create more opportunities for cloud engineers, because those cloud engineers now are going to upskill to get these new opportunities coming. And that's going to leave holes and opportunities at organizations that they need to fill with cloud talent. What are
Yep.
you going to do right now? What are you going to do from right now to 2025 to take advantage of these opportunities? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
It all depends on if you're going to get the job or not. What are you willing to do? How long are you willing to do it? Because let's say if you make it 50K right now, but let's say I told you, okay, so right now is September. By next September, you'll get a job and you'll be making 95K. Would you say that's worth it? Or would you say, oh, no, it ain't worth it for me putting 12 months in and to double my salary? Well, in 12 months at your current job, were you going to double your salary? You
Well,
probably
that's
only
also
get
just
5%.
that's
What you
also
say?
just the beginning too, you know. I
Right.
mean, that's where
Just the
the
beginning.
start. I can tell you like what I'm not going to say the figure, but like what I'm making now with my job in cloud is about like, for entry level, it's about like where I would be at the top for my musician career. Like, just, you know, if I'm not famous, right? Like if I'm not like Taylor Swift or whoever, Drake, but like just a normal musician, like where I'm at starting entry level in cloud is kind of like where I would be if I was like busting my butt working, you know, teaching a bunch of lessons, working every weekend. Um, that's kind of like where I'm at. And I know that that's just the beginning, you know.
No,
So
always. That's the thing. So think about it. Where you could start in the beginning in tech and cloud engineering, AI engineering, whatever the case may be. Some people have to go to 4-year college, and some people have to become a manager and
mhm.
manage hundreds of people. Some people have to work in a job for 20 years. Just to even see, let's just be super transparent and put on the table. I know people that that work at companies and been managers for 15, 20 years, only to make $60,000,
Yeah. Mhm.
only to make $65,000, $70,000, and you'll get that and more as an entry level role in cloud,
Yeah.
right? So make the right choice with us for your career. If you're trying to get into a community, right? I'm gonna share this. I want you all to join this community right here, levelupintech.com/cloud career accelerator. We got free starter courses, we got free projects, we got so much content. I'm actually doing a live event tomorrow at 12 where I'm going to be talking about the roadmap and the mindset for you to jump into a cloud engineering career in 2025. We having real conversations out here. So I want to make sure you all get the information you need to expedite your career in cloud wherever your journey takes you. Once again, some might take longer than others, some may be a shorter time. It's all about now, what are you prepared to do to be ready for it, though? So with that being said, hey Chris, man, I appreciate you just coming on, man. I know it's later at night, I know it's Labor
Appreciate
Day,
you.
and I appreciate you just dropping some gems. And I hope everyone who's looking at this just get a new excitement about where cloud can go, what you can do, how much you can make. All these things where people are telling you can't make a great salary in tech, your first role is lies. Like I see so many
Yeah.
people like, you can't make that in cloud engineering. You have to do this first because I had to do this for 5 years before I landed. Listen, we showing you proof all the time that people are moving in from non-technical roles to cloud engineer roles and making great money. So,
Yeah,
and it's only
you
the
can do it.
beginning. It's only the beginning, man. So once again, I appreciate you, Chris. I appreciate y'all. Make sure you join the community if you're serious about moving into cloud engineering. You just want to learn, cloud. What is it? How much you can make? What you can do with it, and just get some hands-on opportunities. Join that link right there. Join us tomorrow for our live event in that community as well, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, whatever you're working on tonight, keep working on it. I believe in you. We believe in you. You're going to make it. Make sure that you keep that vision in your mind so no one can take it away from you. And I guarantee you, you will be successful if you do not quit. All right. So until next time, thank y'all. Love y'all. Good night. See you later.
Thanks.